I believe that too. I believe if somebody doesn't do what they're supposed to do, it is mostly because they lack the knowledge. Because I myself, when I came into the knowledge of how to do things the right way, then there wasn't really any other way to do it. You know, I wouldn't refuse it because I'm like, but this will literally yield me the best option. Why would I do it any other way? But that's because I have knowledge of how to do it. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's hard sometimes with people when they come up here. And it's funny because someone can come up and start out pretty calm and pretty kind, but a lot of times with Christians, it's not long before they start turning that tide and start saying things like, you're not even a Christian and that kind of stuff. But it's because they're in a scenario they can't get out of.
I've noticed that. I've noticed that it usually starts off pretty cordial and then it gets pretty vicious towards the end. Yeah, I think it's just it is a very emotional, or it can be a very emotional thing, especially when someone has to confront or reflect on possibly things that they've been believing for a very long time. I know it's hard, so I really don't blame them. But I will say to at least just take a look and not to completely shut down, because I mean I can tell who is a good person to listen to by how bothered they are by the other person's insults or their slights. You know, if they're completely unbothered and completely stick to the topic, then man, they got my full attention. You know, because they probably know what they're talking about. But like people who don't, it shows. It kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It kind of shows that they don't have as great as a grasp that they thought that they had, which is probably why they turn to the sword. You know, instead of talking, well, now I'm going to pull out the sword and strike you down because I got nothing else to do.
You're 100% right. And what you'll see, and this isn't just our lives, but I see it very commonly on my lives, on Twan's lives, and on Roy's lives, is people will completely underestimate the situation that they're walking into. And so they'll listen for a few minutes and they'll think, oh, I'm going to go up there and tear this guy apart, or I'm going to go up there and correct this guy. And they don't realize that they're walking into something that they're not going to be able to back out of. So they're either going to have to talk through it, which is going to involve them making some concessions, or at least saying, hey, that's fine, I disagree with you, let's agree to disagree. Most of the times they don't feel like they have that ability to do that because they feel like they're on a mission, but they've underestimated the mission because they didn't do any reconnaissance.
Right, and they also probably feel that it has the matter has to be settled or decided now. And if it's decided in the wrong way, then I lost, I'm a loser. But that's not true. It's like it's okay to not come to an answer when having a conversation. Some person said I believe this, another person says I believe this. They're kind of in contention. They don't really come to a full conclusion. Maybe someone has good points, maybe someone doesn't. But just because the conversation ends on that the other person is the matter has been decided and that's it. I think that's also what drives people to get into that kind of adversarial spirit.
I think you're right. Hey, Michaela.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Black Cat.
Hiya.
How's it going?
Going pretty good. I actually wanted to ask you guys, what do you think a spirit is, or like what is the definition of a spirit?
Well, according to Genesis, it's God's ruach. It's his breath that he breathes into the body, which comes from the dust.
I heard that. It has two meanings. One is breath, and the other is characteristic.
Well, I mean, it's when you look into what the ruach is, in Isaiah 30, verse 33, I'm glad that you brought that up, Black Cat, because that actually that just made me want to do a study, because In Isaiah 30, verse 33, it says, "For God's breath is like burning sulfur, brimstone," just depending on the translation. Well, the fire, well, sulfur and brimstone are cleansing agents, as you well know. Well, fire is not just God, according to Hebrews 12 and Malachi 3, but his fiery laws in Deuteronomy 33, verse 2. And God's laws do reveal his nature, his character, which will never break. So both, I think, are or can be true at the same time. His breath is his character. Someone just asked, what is the difference between soul and spirit? Do animals have a spirit? Well, according to Genesis, the body from the dust, and we're basically giving a mathematical equation in Genesis. The body from the dust and the breath breathed, God's breath is ruach, which is the spirit, create a living soul. So think of an addition problem. The body and the spirit, the dust and God's breath are the add-ins, and the soul is the sum. The body and the spirit become or create a living soul. Now, do animals have a spirit? I think all things that are living and breathing do have a spirit. Are they at least,
I think the question that they probably meant to ask is, do animals have a soul?
If they have a soul, well, I would think so, because if animals didn't have souls, they wouldn't be alive. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. That may be a deep one. Like, I'd have to ask Emily, because she's a huge dog lover.
So. If we're looking at that passage, I don't have it pulled up for me, so let me know if I got something wrong. That passage, it shows that you have the breath, which would be spirit, in this case, being breathed into the material, which is the body. And so the spirit being breathed into the material became a soul. So it would stand to reason that the soul is either a composition of both the material body and spirit, or the soul is just the body, where it wouldn't be alive without a spirit. Right. So I would kind of agree with you on that, where I think animals, I think they do have spirits, especially if you're taking the word, not the breath part of spirit, but the characteristic. It's like, oh yeah, all animals have their own unique characteristic, which they hardly ever deviate from. You know, a cat is always going to knock stuff off the table. Dogs are always going to bark at the mailman. They have that same characteristic throughout their whole generation and lineage.
It's what makes them them. It's their animal tendencies, their characteristics. And like a mama bear, let me throw a bone on that one, let me tell you. You know, I would argue yes. Scientifically, I would, I don't know. Because the soul is found in the blood. And what happens to any living thing, not just humans, if they lose too much blood? They die. So that's, you know, I'm making chicken pot pie, y'all. Y'all come over. But yeah, no, I think that animals do a soul. I do believe. And I also think that, therefore, because I stick to the scriptures, I would then argue, because body and spirit create a living soul, that they would have a spirit as well, you know? And it even makes sense when you read Colossians 1, verses 16 through 20, where it says, all things. I don't think it's just talking about all of mankind. Even David Bentley Hart, I think it was a quote I saw in one of Emily's videos, I chuckled at it. One of his quotes says, I'm looking forward to a glorified Triceratops. You know what I mean? So I think that all things, I don't think it's just pertinent to all of man. I think it'll be pertinent to animals. So therefore, I would say I'm confident I'm confident in the conclusion that I've come to, that even animals have spirits, and therefore they have would a human clone have a soul? A human
that's
clone.
a tough one.
Well, a human clone, I would probably, I don't know. I don't want to say no, because there are babies that are brought into this world through like IVF, right? Which there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But like there's like other means to create a human being. So that's a very interesting question that's asked. What do you think, Brian? I pray that nobody hear this that has a child through IVF do not think that I think that their babies aren't real human beings or anything like that, but
So it's a highly philosophical question, because
yeah.
can anything come into existence apart from God's will? So if someone is able to create a scenario in which a person comes into existence, they were not able to do that apart from God's will. God knew the end from the beginning. He absolutely could have stopped it. And so I would say that if it is a living, breathing person that has a personality, now is it possible that it's not an actual being that has a personality? I don't know, because do we have any human clones at this point? But I would say that if it has a personality, if it has characteristics that makes that being itself, then yeah, it would have a soul, because that's what a soul is. And I think, going back to this, the soul is basically what makes you you. It's who you are. The problem is, a lot of us don't really know who we are. And what is our soul is different. Who we are is different from the reality of who we see ourselves to be. And that's the false self that is stripped away through rebirth, through being reborn.
I would agree. I mean, if someone was a human clone, they still have bones, they still have flesh, they still have blood, they're still human, Mama. And here's the thing, I wouldn't dog it. I actually wish I had a clone, because this mom in life and teacher life and secretary life, I mean, being a wife, anyways. Hey, if God wills clones, I will be happy to have a clone of myself made, because, man, I am telling you, I need a vacation. I'm not against it. So I pray that the previous comment I made didn't come off as, oh no,
You guys can take shifts.
Hey, I'm about it. I am about it, man.
I don't remember what the name of it was, but there's a TV show out there with Paul Rudd in it where he has a clone. Have you guys seen that? I can't remember the name of it.
Dadgum. I know who Paul Rudd is. I can't remember. Well, I recognize the name. What was one movie he starred in that's like really popular?
He's Ant-Man.
Ant-Man? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's got a show. I can't remember the name of it. It's a one-word show. It's like one word, but
Ants?
I can't remember what it is. No, it's all about. So it's a really interesting show. I'm not really spoiling anything here, because this is all like within like the first 5 or 10 minutes of the show. But there's basically this company that it's like a rejuvenation company. So you go in and they clone you, and whenever they clone you, the old you is basically destroyed, and what lives on is the new you, but it's still you. So it's not like you lose your consciousness. But something goes wrong when he goes to get cloned, and both versions of him survive. So instead of it being like him replaced with the better version of himself, he still exists, and there's a newer, better version of him walking around, and it's basically him competing with himself throughout the whole movie. Or throughout the whole show. It was a TV show. It was pretty interesting. I'll have to look it up here in a minute and see what it was called, but it was pretty funny.
Okay, speaking of like clones and all that, I feel like it's going to lead to the conversation I've been wanting to have with you, Brian. So, memory serves. You remember that theory that I had about hell doctrine potentially might be Luciferian?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm just going to give you the footnotes straight from memory because of the details that from that one live you had. I don't have it all memorized. However, this is where I'm going to probably caveat, right? I'll start here. St. Augustine of Hippo didn't necessarily coin the term, he coined the concept of eternal conscious torture. But let's go to his roots, right? I always go back to the roots. I swear to God, ever since I've been looking into the Stargate theory, thank God for Emily, I was like, I too am like her. I don't believe in coincidences. St. Augustine of Hippo came from what origin?
He was a Moratorian, which is pagan.
Yeah, he came from pagan roots. He was a Roman pagan, right? Now, if you know what I'm saying, do you know what I'm saying when I say that? I don't know if you can say the one here anymore. The OCCULT.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, in the occult, there was star worship, which is Luciferian, right? The Romans they worshipped the stars. I would say especially Saturn, which Saturn is very, very deep. Well, Saturn in the Saturnian lore is a lot of times, Saturn, Satan. There's an association with it, right? Do you see what I'm seeing so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Luciferianism wants you to know anything but the truth. That's why we reject Gnosticism. That's why we reject star worship, the black sun, anything to really do with that. And so and it may just be an originism thing, but I'm kind of convinced because of the origin, and because when you go to the origin of St. Augustine, like, you're gonna see things perpetuated from his origin, where he came from, just kind of sprinkled into the truth, making it a partial truth anymore, which is what modern Christianity is, let's be serious. So, I don't know. What do you think?
So I think yeah, and I think even beyond Augustine. So even if you take Augustine or Augustine or however you want to say it, if you take him out of the equation, you still see it from that point forward, and actually from about 313 AD forward, you start seeing all kinds of paganism being brought into Christianity because the Roman government was merging with the Christian church. And as they merged with the Christian church, they brought in a lot of their perceptions on things, and they approved of the doctrines which lined up with their ability to control and manipulate people. And regardless of whether you think Satan is a literal being or whether you think Satan is a metaphor for something else, I think if you think about that doctrine as being the doctrine of the accuser, it's a doctrine that brings accusation. It's a doctrine that makes people feel separated from God. It's a doctrine that makes people feel worthless. And it's a doctrine that changes the nature and character of God. What were you going to say?
Alone, hated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything that's not Yahweh. And even Babylonian, which I do not hold to the demiurge what's so freaking ever, but that's a very Canaanite Babylonian thought. And I don't know, how do I put this? I do not see Yahweh as the demiurge. I just don't. And trying to use Deuteronomy 32, 8 through 9 is, I think, a poor example. It proves the divine counsel, right? But I don't, not in the demiurge way. Like, yes, Yahweh, YWHW, Yud He Vav He, but not El in the Canaan, because he's not a Mesopotamian god. He's a god of Israel. I don't.
Is that the verse that talks about Elion gave to this person this and to this person
gave
this?
the nations and
Here's the problem with that. So if I'm talking about something that let's say for Christmas, let's say I'm giving Christmas presents, and as a father, right? I gave my family all Christmas presents, and I also bought something for myself and kind of gifted something to myself, right? Now, there's different ways you can refer to yourself in the third person, right? So if you say, you know, Brian or Mr. McHenry, right? Mr. McHenry gave to his daughter this and gave to his wife this, and he gave to Brian or he gave to himself this, right? Because it uses a different term for God in that place is the only reason it seems to create confusion there. Because we talk that way all the time, where we talk about giving something to ourselves. And so what he's talking about, he's talking about what he gave to all these other people. He gave them all this, and he gave them all this. This was their inheritance. But what was his inheritance? They were his inheritance. He gave them to himself. So he's listing all of these gifts that he's giving to them, and then he lists them as his inheritance. So it makes complete logical sense. And really, it would be more equivalent to this. Like when I talk to my wife or to my kids, and maybe, at Christmas, one of my kids is like, hey, I didn't have the money to get you anything for Christmas. That's okay. I have you, right? And so it's this concept of
Say that last part again.
well,
It's okay. I
got you, right? I didn't have anything to give you any presents. You're my present, right?
Yeah.
That's what God is doing in this passage.
His gift to himself is creation.
Pull that passage up right quick and let's read it, if you don't mind.
Deuteronomy. Hold on.
Now, before you read the passage, if you're going to Bible Hub, do me a favor right quick and look up Elion and look up Yahweh in Bible Hub and see what it defines them as. Yeah, so yes, okay, here we go. This is exactly what I was looking for, what Lewis just said, right? So Yahweh is a name and Elion is a title, right? So it would be like saying the Most High gave to this person this person this person this, and to himself, and then gives his name and gave to himself this. So it's saying to this person this, to this person this. This was their inheritance. But what was his inheritance? His inheritance was them. So yeah, go ahead and read it right quick. Yeah, Elion.
This is Elion from verse 8. It's an adjective.
Right. So it's not a noun.
Highest.
So it's not a noun. It's not a noun. So for anyone who makes the argument that this verse is talking about a demiurge, whereby there is one God who is giving something else to another God, they don't understand the parts of speech, because the word Elion is not a noun, it's an adjective, it's descriptive. Now pull up Yahweh. So Lewis pulled up, let's see. Okay. So Yahweh, that was Elion still.
So this was the word for God at the end of verse 8. And it's actually Yisrael.
Yeah.
He will rule as God, a symbolical name of Jacob, typically of his posterity. This is Deuteronomy 32, verse 8, where you'll see the word God. It's not Yahweh, it's Yisrael. It's interesting.
So I don't think that's the right word. I don't think that's the right. Hold on a second.
That's what it says in Bible Hub for Deuteronomy 32, verse 8. Like,
Hold on.
according to where it says, according to the nations, I'd have to have a Bible in front of me at the same time. I wish here on TikTok you could, you know. Me 32, the New King James, my hardcover. No, let me get the interlinear. Let me get the interlinear. If my husband calls back, then I know it's serious. So I'm in 2 Kings.
It's 32 verse what?
Verse 8 and 9.
The Tetragrammaton, which means I am.
No, hold on. I'm trying to find it. Deuteronomy 32. Okay, I'm in 32. No, 33. So 32 down, all the way down to verse 8. In the interlinear, it says, verse 8 says, when the Most High, let me see where it says when the Most High, the word for the Most High, ignore my kid,
That's Elyon.
is Elion, divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set up the bounds of the peoples according to the number of the sons of Israel. And then it starts with verse 9. For Jehovah's portion is his people, Jacob is the lot of his inheritance, which makes sense because that's what Israel, this is built into the law. This is built into the Torah. His people that we see, who's actually Jacob, is believers. So we actually see this continue on in Deuteronomy, into Romans from Deuteronomy. So where it says, for Jehovah, the word is Jehovah here in verse 9. But this is the verse in verse 8. Let me.
Yeah, well, and so my point is, we don't have to get too much into the details of the words, other than the fact that my point is, the word Elyon there is an adjective meaning the Most High. It's a title. It's not a name. It's not a proper noun that is used as a name, whereas the name that's used there for God is an actual name. And so it's not one name giving something else to a different name. It is the Most High, the title of the Most High, giving to these different people groups, like to Jacob, giving them an inheritance. And then it says what his lot is. What is his allotment? And that his inheritance is the people to whom he just gave an inheritance. So it's like me talking about, like at Christmas, handing out the presents. And it's like, hey, I gave all these presents to my kids. These kids are my gift. So it's not a verse that supports the demiurge. And anyone who thinks that this verse supports the idea that there is a God above Yahweh, which is basically what you were getting at. This is Marcionism. It's this belief system that in the Bible, Yahweh is a lesser God and that his God is Elyon. But that's not the case. They'll say, well, the Most High God, and they're seeing that like as a name, that there's this God who's over Yahweh. That's not what this verse is saying. It's the same. The Most High in that verse and God in that verse are the same. And it's talking about the inheritance that he has given to his people, and then that his people are his inheritance.
I wholeheartedly agree, because even when you go down to the Hebrew, it's talking about sons of Israel. It's not talking about this Canaanite concept of it. Yeah, I agree. Like it blows my mind. But yeah, I'm glad that I looked into the interlinear. I had a suspicion that, it was talking about Jacob, who is the inheritance, which is the elect. Like Deuteronomy, even from the Torah, it's pointing to the elect. Like it quite literally, we are Jacob. Believers in Messiah, they are Jacob. It's built in. And
Hey,
so,
Lewis.
but yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate your help in the hi brother. I appreciate your help in the theory. I think it's. I don't want to I just don't want the pretense to be, oh well, it's just because Saint Augustine was Roman pagan, and paganism. I just don't believe in coincidences. You know what I mean? Of course, people that believed in star worship are going to want you to believe that you're alone.
Hey,
Yeah, no.
Apocatastasis, if we're going to make this thing work, you have to come up and speak in the Koine so that when I come up, I can speak in the English.
All right, Apocatos. Okay, Lewis.
Hey,
That's your Spanish translation. Restauración de todo. No? Okay.
no.
Wow. Lewis, you left me hanging, bro. Dang.
I was looking up my Koine lexicon and see what that meant.
Oh. Hey, Roger.
How you doing?
I'm a doing. How about you, brother?
We still kicking, just ain't as high.
Making me some chicken pot pie. First time making it homemade other than banquet, I tell you what.
I hope it turns out good. The old lady cooked green beans, potato salad, dressing, and gravy and turkey.
Nice. It's Thanksgiving up in there.
Almost. I tell you, I feel like I ate Thanksgiving and dinner. I think I ate 2 bites too many.
So how are you, Lewis and Roger? How are y'all doing?
I'm doing well. Doing really well. I'm getting a little aggravated earlier today with a few folks, but I was able to catch myself. I was glad of that.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, it's
I had someone try to exorcise me yesterday on my life. They were trying to cast the demons out of me. It didn't work. So apparently, their Jesus is not powerful enough.
that's happened to me several times too, Lewis.
Yeah.
Might have been the same individuals.
I've actually been called Satan himself.
Yeah. We had a lady earlier on here, right before Black Cat came on. We had a lady on here that ended her discussion. Well, I ended her discussion because of what she said, but she started out pretty nice, but she started getting progressively more irritated with me, and ended it by saying, "You're not even a Christian." And so I was like, "Yeah, we're not playing that game." So I just went ahead and disconnected her.
I like when they tried to gatekeep Christianity. It's always a wonderful thing to watch.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Everybody, they think that they get to define, who's in and who's out. That's the issue. That's what is so attractive about the exclusionary doctrine, is that somebody gets to determine who's excluded, right? And that's the part that's fun, is getting to decide who's not in.
Absolutely. It's like an exciting game of
But
dominoes.
you can trace its addictive nature back to middle or even high school. It's the click nature.
Mm-hmm.
It's Luciferian. That's why.
Because it makes them feel like they have a group, an in group, and having an in group makes one feel comfortable or gives them some kind of validation.
I agree.
Yeah. What have any of you guys ever seen the TV show Series of Unfortunate Events?
No, I haven't.
Have you nobody else seen that? It's, if you have kids, I would definitely recommend watching it. You might not like it as an adult, but if you have kids, I would recommend watching it. It's, without getting too much into it, it's about these orphans basically whose parents were unalived in some mysterious way, and so these kids are being like kind of pushed into different homes. Like they'll go to one home and and there's this guy that it sounds crazy, but there's this guy that's like hunting them because he's related to what happened with their parents. And so every time they get settled into a home, he ends up coming and wrecking it, and they get pushed out into another home and this kind of stuff. But the whole point of what I was talking about was that if you guys have seen that show, there's this one family that the husband and wife, that's how they talk, is they'll talk about that's so in right now, or that's so out right now. And so like, but it's funny because it'll switch in a moment's time. Like they'll be doing something and they're wearing some kind of outfit, or they have some kind of pet, or they have some kind of food that they're eating, and they're like, oh, this is so in right now. But then like the very next day, it's like, okay, through the grapevine, we found out this is out right now. Something else is in. That is what Christianity has become. And in determining who's in and who's out is this approach of, it depends on who, like, not to get too political with it, but like some of the things that we see in our current president, regardless of what you think about our current president, I don't think anyone would say that he exudes the love of Christ, right? And there are things obviously that he says and does, and things from his past and things like that that would not be things that we would find acceptable as Christians, or not things that we would find to be in. We'd find them to be out, until we have a president who we think is a Christian, and now all of a sudden he's in and other people are out. And so it's sad, because whenever a person gets to decide, or a group of people gets to decide who's in and who's out, that's subjective and it changes over time.
You mean, is that something like quadrinitarianism?
It also plays into that doctrine
The
of
Father, the Son, the
fear.
Holy Spirit, and Donald Trump.
Yeah, I thought you were going with the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, and me, right? For anyone.
No.
But no, I see where you're going with it.
know-
Actually,
Do you know Rabbi Ben Power Tool, or Rabbi Ben Tool Power? Jeez, I forget. One or the other. He's Messianic, and every time I'll go on his live, or he's on a live, I'll say, hey, and he'll go, John 1:1. I'm a quadrinitarian, didn't you know? And then,
Oh no!
and then
And who's the fourth person?
Mother Mary.
Ah, okay, it's another thing.
Yeah, that makes the Mother Mary makes the quadrinity. Take Mary out, it's just the Trinity. And I'm like, I'm not. And he's a good dude. He's Unitarian, and I made it known that I'm more subordinationist, and I learned that there was a sect of subordination that was also declared a heresy. I forget the detail as to why. I think it's because there's a certain subordinationist view. I can't remember if it denies Christ's divinity. What do you guys think?
Well,
What do you know?
Yeah, so I mean, subordinationism in and of itself is not necessarily non-Trinitarian.
Right.
But I think the issue was the Arianism.
Yeah.
right?
believe
Because if
that-
you're
that-
being
that-
true to Scripture, if you're being true to Scripture, you can't say there's no subordination, because
I agree.
we see the subordination in 1 Corinthians 15. So yeah, what Lewis is saying there is absolutely correct. That's not the issue.
Why not? Go out there. Out there. No.
Now, what you see with Christ is a same thing you see in the near Mid East. It's a suzerain and vassal set up, a higher king and lower king.
Origin abandoned apokatastasis. That's an interesting claim.
Who said that?
Just Spartan 1.0.
Oh yeah, Just Spartan's
You're
Just Spartan he's hung up on nonsense. It's the same
I
lies
recognize
on
either.
different days from him. and he has no idea what he's talking about. And in fact, what's interesting about that is he found that claim somewhere, because that was not what he used to originally say. But he'll hang on to stuff, and he'll find something that he thinks, hey, this is going to be a talking point that's going to be really, really cool to use. But he has no idea what he's talking about, because that's absolutely not true. Origen never abandoned apokatastasis. What he's actually going off of is he's taking my words and he's twisting what I said. So what he's actually referring to is the fact that whenever I was explaining the Council of 553 AD, the Second Council of Constantinople, and how what was actually being dealt with in that council wasn't Origen's belief in apokatastasis. It was a belief that Origen did not believe, not apokatastasis. Origen died believing apokatastasis. The belief that was on trial was not apokatastasis. It was a variation of apokatastasis in which some followers of Origen had come to believe in the pre-existence of souls, and that apokatastasis took place through a process of reincarnation. And so that was the issue. It wasn't apokatastasis. And anyone who claims that Origen abandoned apokatastasis has absolutely no idea what they're talking about, and it's completely unfounded. And I don't know with Just Spartan if he is just dishonest or if he's ignorant.
Well, this kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier when I asked what a spirit was. The spirit being a kind of breath that someone has or a characteristic. Do you guys, this is something that I was personally working on based on what I've been noticing, but do you guys know or understand the implications of what an adversarial spirit is? Someone who has an adversarial spirit.
Well, the implications of an adversarial spirit, like the result of it,
Or I should have said the qualities or the attributes.
well, the qualities of the attributes. Some may disagree, but the qualities of the attributes would be one that express lack of love and anomia, so lawlessness. If someone were to tell me, "Oh, this is okay to do," but it's actually not according to what God instructs us not to do, that's adversarial. Commandments, His will, like anything that's not good to do.
I would say that sounds correct on a very large scale, like on a debate or the course of talking to someone, that you can tell that someone has an adversarial spirit by certain ways that they behave, and the qualities that they have when they speak or debate with you. So, like, first of all, they don't seek to understand;
They seek to just
win.
respond.
Right.
That too, yes. They also seek to respond. They seek to respond to keep a discourse going. They also, more importantly, they do seek to win, and they also seek to win by any means necessary, whether it be you made a spelling error, or you stuttered, or you did this, and it's just they look for every single inkling to try to get an edge in on you, in order to either throw you off your game or show you that they win. But that's the main point. The main point is that
It's winning.
if they don't seek to understand you, then you can kind of know what team they're playing for.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that also Tyler that's a true comment. But the qualities of an adversarial spirit is also like they're demons manifesting. So we've had people before. Hold on, baby. We've had people before come at us very nice, and it's like a two-faced switch. All of a sudden, you start to challenge what they believed, and it's, "Oh, you're gonna burn forever," and they'll just all of a sudden drop. How many times has that happened to us, fellas? So it's such a broad schemata of what makes an adversarial spirit, because you have adversarial spirits that say it's okay when God says it's not. You have adversarial spirits that don't like the good news. You have adversarial spirits that just wish ill will upon people. I mean, it touches on so many things. You have adversarial spirits that they fall under, such pagan doctrine and pagan beliefs that are not of Yahweh. That's adversarial as well. I mean, I would consider that. So, I don't know. I think that it is an umbrella that just trickles a bunch of different types. You know what I mean? Such a broad. It's very broad.
That's a
Yes,
much
it can
better
apply
answer
to
than I
a lot of things. There is a significant difference between an adversary and, well, I mean, the word is self-explanatory. An adversary, something that is against you in a big way. It's different than an opponent. When I'm sparring with somebody, that's an opponent. When the person I'm sparring with is literally trying to kill me during our sparring match, that's an adversary. If you know what I mean.
It seeks to harm. And here's gentlemen agree. More, Brian Lewis and Tyler and Black Cat. But I believe that the serpent was Hasatan, unless proven otherwise, because that is the adversary of our flesh. The serpent was cursed to devour the flesh. So I could see that. Like, I'm in the camp that I believe that he's an actual, like, spirit, or being, whatever term would be more accurate. But I don't know. Like that and it makes sense to me, because where is our sin nature? It's in our flesh. And the body comes from the dust, which the serpent was cursed to consume, right? So I could see that. I could see the serpent as Hasatan. Now, that being said, where was I going with this? An adversary will do anything in the adversary will do everything in its power to make you fall into the flesh, right? Which we're called to die out of. So I don't know. I hope I was going somewhere with that. I was trying to land a plane, but I can't without making connections. Because if you don't make the connections, you're not going to get to the point.
I feel like Black Cat, I think your whole point with all that was just to say that when we have people come into these lives, or when we have people who target all of our videos and post comments on all of our videos, just saying the same stuff over and over again, or saying things that are these statements that have no seeking value to them, that it is representative of someone who is just trying to win at all costs.
Yes.
Is that what you were saying?
Yes.
Oh,
I had that in my TikTok messages today, man. The devil was manifesting today.
I just thought of something. Sorry, Tyler.
Oh, you're fine.
I got excited.
Well, let's come back to that, because I want to hear what they said, Tyler. But go ahead right quick, Michaela.
Okay, so hell is a pagan doctrine. I'm a firm believer it ties to Luciferianism, even all the way back to Zoroastrianism, which is also pagan as hell. Now, here's the thing. It's an adversary spirit. If someone wants you to keep believing in hell doctrine, which is pagan, either intentional, or which, honestly, it's intentional. They just don't know why it's pagan. They don't know why it's a false doctrine. So, intentional or unintentional is out of the question, but that is also an adversarial spirit wanting you to stay in a doctrine that God, or in a pagan pathway, and a doctrine when God commands us to not follow the ways of the pagans, to call out the ways of the nations. So, damn. Okay. Carry on,
But here's another part of this, and I want to hear what Tyler was going to say. But here's another part of this. I think when we think about this, we're looking at people like this individual that started this whole conversation, and many of the others we deal with, and it's easy for us to blame those people or to feel negative feelings about that person. But the very concept of a spirit, when we talk about something that is in a spirit, we're talking about something that is not conscious within them. They don't recognize that they're doing it. They're preaching pagan doctrines, and they're forcing these pagan doctrines and really trying to pull people back into these pagan doctrines. They don't realize they're pagan. They don't realize that they are on the opposite side of truth. And in many cases, I don't think they realize that they are the adversary.
No, they
Yeah.
don't.
They don't.
Interesting.
Because they think what they're doing is 100% correct, so they're going to push it.
Right.
Yeah, interesting.
Righteousness.
That text where.
Go, Lewis.
Go ahead. Liz.
Just interestingly, there's that text where the disciples asked Jesus if they should call fire down upon those people, and Jesus says that you know not what spirit you speak of.
Amen.
To calling fire down upon people, and so even today we see that ongoing. They want to call fire down upon the people that they despise, because they by despising them they elevate themselves. They live in condemnation, and so if they can find someone they can condemn, now they've elevated themselves, and so they want to continue to call that fire down upon them.
Ooh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, that is really good. You know, and it tracks too, Brother Lewis, because the intention of fire for Yahweh is love, but with people, because we're the only thing we're good at is messing up anything that God calls good. Is the inverse, is the freaking inverse. So it makes all the sense. Yes.
Okay, look, that piece you said a minute ago, I believe you might be onto something there, actually. Possibly. Because this judgment idea, this judgment concept, it actually comes out of Zoroastrianism when they're influenced by the Persians.
No, my start was Luciferianism and here's the thing, and it may be an accurate snowball. That's why I said it's possibly, I see a possible connection. No, you can't have it. I'm sorry. No, sorry. Can't have it. Is because Augustine of Hippo, who came from Roman pagan roots, what did they worship? They worshiped stars. They worshiped other gods that were connected to the stars, and just kind of snowballed from there. That's all it was, brother. But
I just know that judgment comes from there. This judgment concept comes from the Persian. That's where they get it from. But so that's why I'm saying you might have some kind of connection there.
yeah. I think everything. I don't believe in coincidences. An origin goes back to an origin of the past, and so on and so forth. I don't. You know what I mean? Everything connects to something because it's built off, right? Whether you have influence, merging of cultures coming together. I mean, it's very present in history. So, you know, like I don't know. When I came to the possibility, I was kind of not getting into my flesh with Brian. I was just being a grump about hell doctrine. I'm like, you know what? It's probably Luciferian as hell. And then it just dawned on me, what if? Think about the man that basically coined the concept of hell doctrine. You know? And think about his origins, what he was influenced by, based on what he was raised in. It makes all the sense in the world to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and in reality, Michaela, if you believe in a literal, sentient enemy of God, right? So if you believe that Satan is this literal sentient enemy of God rather than a representation of something else, there's really no other way to land on this, because anything that is not truth is a direct tactic of that enemy, right? And so if the reconciliation of all things is true, and if Satan is a literal sentient being, then there is really no other logical conclusion than to see any doctrine that presents God in a nature other than his actual nature as being anything less than of that enemy.
Let me clarify something earlier when I was talking about spirits. I'm not too sure myself about the idea of a corporeal entity or whether it's just conceptual, although I am open to both. When I was speaking of a spirit, I was more speaking of a characteristic that someone dawns onto themselves rather than them having a, I guess, like a Hollywood-esque possession, like where something takes a hold of them. Which I do have another take on that, but I do believe Tyler was saying something. Or Ty.
Well, right quick, I wasn't actually, I didn't think that's what I wasn't speaking like in terms of possession. What I meant is that I think when righteousness and an adversarial mindset, they're two sides of the same coin, right? So whenever you have someone who is out there preaching because they're like, God's given me this message, I got to go out there and preach this, that mindset is very similar to the adversarial spirit. The difference is, are they actually representing the nature and character of God correctly? And so I don't think most of these people who are out there, like Just Spartan, who was here in the comments that started this whole thing, I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think that he's intentionally out there, just trying to slaughter people and thinking of it in that way. I think that's what's going on with him, but I don't think it's something that's conscious. I don't think he's consciously doing that. I think he's doing what he thinks is right. Yep. But because the righteous preacher, quote unquote, spirit, for lack of a better word, and the adversarial spirit are two sides of the same coin, it just depends on whether or not truth is heads or tails.
I completely agree with you on that.
I agree. I mean, and I pray that my theory, I wasn't trying to come off as like, oh, if the devil is real or not real, like I'm just looking back into origin and just connecting the dots. And
in here, trying to cause
really
division.
All it is that's why I brought it up. But I mean, as far as the spirit, I mean, I agree with you, gentlemen. I think we're kind of saying the same thing.
Yeah, I think so too. Tyler, what were you going to say? You've been trying to say this for a while.
Oh, it was just I had two people, but I had to block the other one the other day, and then they came from Twan's live. When we're having these conversations, and usually people just bash you in the comments, and then that's it, right? Mm-hmm. Very few times do they start to message you personally, and both of these people messaged me the same day. One of them didn't start the conversation with me until a day later, which was actually today, 2 days later. And first person the other day I had to block, and then the second one was a male and today was a female, just going off on me, judging I go against Jesus, I hate Jesus, and I hate Jesus' mother, and just none of it was based in any facts. None of it was based on knowing me and knowing my relationship with Christ. And I pointed out, I was like, I've never judged you and your relationship with Christ. I've never made a comment about you not being a believer or that you don't know Jesus or anything like that. I've strictly tried to stick to the facts of the scripture, and you're denying it. And they just kept attacking. And it was almost involuntary. Like I just eventually started typing laughing emojis. And I was like, this is very entertaining, because they just kept going. It was like they could not stop themselves from
They can't help themselves.
No, and it was the manifesting. It felt demonic. It felt evil. And she believes she's in her right for doing that. And I said, if Jesus were here standing in front of you, would you still talk like this? Because this is not of Christ at all. And just kept going off. I was just floored. And I was like, you know what? God's definitely testing me here to see if I'm going to react and get into my selfish, sinful nature and respond. And I realized that. So it's one of those moments. It's like, okay, God, I see what's going on here. I'm just going to chill, take each step back. I'm just going to, let this person go crazy. And it was just incredible how long it went on. Message after message after message. Just right after I would say something, they just attack, repent, and you don't know Jesus, and you go against Jesus, and you hate Jesus, and you hate Jesus' mom, and just going off. I was like, man, I'm like, you need to go examine your heart because this is not of God. And I said, this is not Christianity. I don't know what this is, but you don't seek God.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
And it's and Hell Doctrine. All it is a club. I mean, have we actually, like, if you were to think back to when you first believed in Hell Doctrine, like, has anyone honestly thought back to themselves and go, I wonder what it is about Christianity that leads people to atheism? And I remember years ago, it was about a decade ago, when Facebook was, I don't know. Anyway, not much has really changed. Anyway, someone quoted a mitzvah from Deuteronomy saying that God condones grape. And because I was very immature in my studies, I was basically in the womb, so to speak, I was like, maybe I should revisit that. But I didn't, and I kept on, and I kept on, and I kept on, believing in Hell Doctrine. And so it just came a point in my life, I don't know if it was just maturity, or God was like, hey, you're ready. Here's the full truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You've always been an odd duck. Let's be even more odd. You got this. I made you odd for a reason. I don't know. It just, when I finally got to the truth, when Roy presented the information to me, I went and studied it out, tried to rebuke it time and again, asked questions, remained honest in my studies. I'm like, man, there was a time I even questioned this type of concept, how it could lead to atheism. I still kept on,
Yep.
I don't know. It's the
there's an
weirdest
atheist
thing. I feel dumber now that I think about it.
Yeah, there's an atheist that I follow, and I've chimed in a few times, and she actually made a video responding to one of my comments. But it's interesting because we kind of like resonate with one another, and I tune in. I haven't had an opportunity to jump on her live as a guest. I'm hoping to at some point, but it's interesting because she leads with the prompt, "You don't deserve hell," or something like that. And Christians will come up there and they'll do everything they can to convince her to believe. She says, "I just can't believe." She's a former Christian, but her arguments are so much more sound and reasonable than the Christians are. I'm like, if ever I would have become something, I would rather be that than what these Christians are espousing. It's just so heinous and sadistic. And she actually, when she's a good debater, and when she gets people to realize that the doctrine is so twisted, she then actually points out that there are other forms of belief, and she says, there are Christians that believe in annihilationism and in universalism, and she does make an attempt, it's not completely accurate, to define what these things are as a better alternative to the eternal conscious torment view that Christians have.
Yeah, that's good. At least she's not like just completely shooting it down. Are you guys familiar with Rhett and Link? You guys ever heard of Rhett and Link?
I haven't, no.
No.
So you guys probably, y'all's children are either would have been older than Rhett and Link time frame, or they're too young for it. But there were these YouTubers, they're still around. I still love their content. They have a show called Good Mythical Morning, and they'll do stuff like they'll try foods from around the world and rate them and stuff like that. But Rhett and Link were these very strong Christians back in the early 2000s when they first started making their videos, and they were sharing their faith. They were both involved in Campus Crusades for Christ before they did their YouTube channel. Well, both of them went through the deconstruction movement and deconverted completely. So neither one of them represent themselves as Christians anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But what ultimately was one of the main things that took them to that place was the doctrine of hell.
Mm-hmm.
And what saddens me is that we have so many Christians on this app and elsewhere who will fight so fervently for hell that they press this issue to where it's either hell or nothing. right? So people don't realize. I feel like I've had other friends who were Christians who deconverted, and a lot of it was over things like the doctrine of hell. And instead of them coming to this in between ground, or this realization that, hey, there are alternatives to this. Hell, there are Christians who don't believe in hell, and in fact, if you do the research, you find out that was the original standpoint, and it becomes very less likely for someone to deconvert through the process of deconstruction whenever they are introduced to that reality.
Well, not only that, it's Christianity comes off as, oh, all you got to do is just believe. But behind the mask, Christianity has become works-based as well. Like, it's a combination of works-based and hell doctrine put together. No wonder why there's so many atheists.
And a holier than
I
thou
can't blame
mindset,
them.
to be honest.
I can't blame them. And
these Christians who were attacking me felt like they were so holy, and it was vicious. They get real nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I always tell people with that, and it will typically shut them down, or they'll have the sort of reaction. So it'll do one of two things. It'll either make a mortal enemy, or it will shut them down and they'll stop. Is when people start acting like that, I'll tell them, that's the bad fruit coming out.
Oh, I said that. They didn't care.
Yeah.
They walked right over everything I said.
Yeah. You made a mortal enemy.
Oh yeah, man, it was evil. I'll tell you that, it was evil. And here's something I say too regularly, is that God, Satan doesn't care if you think you're following God, so long as you think you're following God. He can fool you and lead you astray, and you think you're following God. He's got you still. So there's so many people that think they're doing what's right and they think they're following God when they're actually not, because God would never have these people respond like they do. No. To get that violent, that horrible, to start attacking like that. That is not of the love of God.
No, it's not. It's not. But that's the problem is they feel like they're on a mission, and like Black Cat said earlier about the adversarial mindset of, you got to win no matter what, whatever it takes. That is their approach. This is a mission I'm on. You're wrong. I'm going to declare that, and I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to cook you no matter what it takes. And it doesn't matter that what I'm doing kind of goes against the fruits of the Spirit, because I'm on a mission. I get a card. I get a free pass.
I'm justified.
Yes.
Not only that, but if I win, then that means God wins. I mean, to take a step further. And I'm like, what if you lose? Like,
but they'll never recognize that.
They won't.
They will not recognize a loss, right?
No.
So it's the first lady that was on the first lady that came up on the live today as a guest, right? That's what was going on with her, right? So we're talking through this. And the moment that the tide starts to turn to an uncomfortable place, we're like, oh, wait a minute, maybe I stepped in something here. Instead of recognizing that they stepped in something and trying to back out of it gracefully, they plant their feet. And then they
tracked it back in the house and they spread it all over.
Yeah, they just get crap everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen the movie Drop Dead Fred?
It's been so many years, but yeah.
Remember when he stepped in the mud and went inside the house and he went all over the mom's white carpet?
Gentlemen, what year was this movie made and came out? I gotta know.
Oh man, it's hilarious. She has an imaginary friend as a kid. Her mom locks it up in a Jack in the Box and tapes it shut. And then she grows up, goes away, and then she has a messed up the situation with a fiance, and he's cheating on her. Now she runs back home to her mom, and now she needs her imaginary friend from childhood again. She opens up the box and he comes out, and now it's chaos again. And it's just funny. It's funny.
Oh my God.
Drop Dead Fred. It's a classic.
This is totally off topic, but speaking of imaginary friends, my 20-year-old daughter, when she was a kid, she had an imaginary friend that she called Deedle. So her imaginary friend's name was Deedle. I don't know where that came from. But one time she runs into our bedroom and she's just bawling. And we're like, what's going on? And she said, Deedle, she's through tears. Deedle told me she doesn't want to be my friend anymore. I mean, that's pretty messed up whenever your imaginary friend is bullying you or your imaginary friend is treating you that way. But that's one of the, it's sad. It was really sad at the moment, but it's one of those just funny stories for her childhood about her imaginary friend because she's got plenty of them.
That's funny. Deedle did it.
Yeah, Deedle did it. No, Deedle did not want to be her friend anymore. I mean, if your imaginary friend is disowning you, you got some
Your
issues
life's over.
That's abandonment issues. That's a fruit of abandonment issues.
Maybe so, but she had no reason to have abandonment issues.
No, I'm thinking of other people, not your daughter. I'm not saying that, but like, you know what I mean? Like, that just made me think of someone I know that does have abandonment issues. Like, I could see that panning out. Like, if that was, like, oh my. But yeah, dude, I just looked up Drop Dead Fred. Came out in '91. That was 4 years prior. That was 3 years prior to my conception. Okay, but I looked at the face. I recognized the face. I probably seen it in some meme somewhere. I can't remember seeing the movie. That freaks me the hell out. Absolutely not. What were they thinking? That's like Hey Arnold in claymation. What is this?
So listen, Michaela, I'm not appreciating this ageism at all.
Right? Jeez.
Well, I asked when it
dated us.
came out. I asked when it came. Oh my God. Okay.
It came out whenever I was 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was born in '79, so shoot.
Okay. You and I are both millennials. You're an older millennial. I'm a younger millennial. It's all good. We're both millennials. Okay.
What?
Yes.
I'm X, girl. I am not a millennial. I rebuke that in the name of Jesus.
Brian. I did the math in my head when he was born. Okay.
You know what? I identify as X too.
Yeah, I would say you do.
Okay, fine. I'm just going. Listen, I am just going off the time frame that's given to us. I probably identify more as older millennial or X myself. I was born in the wrong generation. Give me the Beatles. Give me.
There you go.
God. Give me Stevie Ray Vaughan. Well, he's 80s. Fine, that's cool. Give me Aerosmith. Give me AC/DC. Give me DC. Give me old jazz from like the 80s. I mean, I listened to Michael Bolton as a kid. Okay? Are you
Give me,
kidding me, dude?
give me Nat King Cole. Give me Bing Crosby.
King Crosby. Nat King Cole is bussin'.
Yeah, buddy.
So I wonder, because I'll probably won't be on too much longer, but I wonder if we have anyone in the chat who maybe wants to come up and ask questions about universal reconciliation. Come up and ask questions about the topic that you see on the screen.
Yeah, come on up, guys. I mean, if you have questions, want to have a cordial conversation, and, you know, anything that needs cleared up.
So just in a nutshell, what this live is all about is this belief system that Jesus is a savior, reconciler, and restorer of all things. And so I do these lives, and many of us up here do these lives or create videos about this topic to give people an opportunity to ask questions about this belief system, which modern day is typically called Christian Universalism. So if you've ever had a question for Christian Universalists, this is a good time to come up and ask them.
It's about me, okay? It's about me. I'm just kidding. It's just the username.
Hey Keith, how you doing?
I had to. That was terrible. Nobody laughed.
It took me a minute to catch it.
Ha ha ha.
Tyler, don't start. Hi, Keith.
How you doing? I got a question for everybody. And,
All right.
Answer it, you will. But if you were to, can you pull up a particular scripture?
I can. We can probably blow it up, yeah.
Michaela, as the millennial, as the youngest one on the panel, she is more technological than the rest of us.
What are you talking about? I program for a living.
Brian.
You know what? That's probably true.
I can repair TVs, computers, coffee makers.
Listen, metallurgist, we already know, okay? What verse would we pull
What
up,
verse
Bubba?
did you want her to pull up, brother?
1 John 2:16, and this relates to free will.
Okay, I'm on it.
I'm not a determinist in any shape or form. In many ways, I am, but I'm not a full determinist. So, where the origin of sin comes from, it states the world. Now, it's not from the Father, so where could it come from?
For everything in the world, for the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life comes not from the Father, but from the world.
Yes.
And you say that to you says free will.
First
Well,
John 2:16.
How it relates to free will.
First John 2:16.
Yes,
Hold on.
because it's not from the Father. And from
Well, I would say that free will is an illusion, but freedom of choice is more accurate because God's will be done. We only have freedom of choice within His will.
right, but from a creation
Amen.
standpoint, if God creates all, and it says that it's not from the Father, but from the world, where does this dichotomy come from?
So, hold on. Jesus. Okay, hold on. Yeah, so I'm pulling up multiple translations for everything in the world. The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life comes not from the Father, but from the world. Okay, so yes, but now, everything from the world, you kind of got to go back to, I don't know, it makes me think of Isaiah 45:7. For some reason, it just popped up, and I'm going to try to make a connection as fluid and accurate as possible, brother. So, yes, for everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life comes not from the Father, but from the world. Amen. I agree. We're called to be separated from this world, from this world, because the world provides nothing but these things, right? However, for some reason, I think of Isaiah 45:7, where it says, God created both good and evil. I've created both good and evil. Some translations say calamity, but that's where I get to the point. Well, what's the root of calamity? Evil. I, the Lord, do all these things, and I give you an experience of evil to humble by it. So, I don't know. There may be some contentions because the New Living Translation for the world offers only a craving for physical pleasure, right?
I mean, this defines worldly temptations that distract
Yes.
us from God as the lust of flesh, not
This is our
defining
sin
our like
nature.
free will, but yeah.
This is just revealing the sin nature in our flesh. That's
Right.
The desires originate from the world, not the Father, and they represent like the root of all sin, not it's our free will.
and it makes sense because the Father cannot he cannot directly like cause you to sin. He can send lying agents. He could send Hasatan to tempt you to go against, which is a test. That's what it is at the end of the day. And God is also not the author of confusion. He doesn't cause you to sin. However, He created flesh, which has a sin nature in it, right? So this is just revealing the sin nature comes from the flesh.
So Keith, did you happen to see that? That's good, Michaela. That's good stuff what you just said. But Keith, did you happen to see the two videos I made this past week on the literary device called metonym?
No, I don't think I have.
So
I'll have
if
to
you
look.
get what's that?
I said I'll have to look.
Okay, so if you get a chance, it was this past week, maybe 3 or 4 videos back, and I did 2 of them kind of in a row, and I was explaining in the first video, someone came in and said into my comments and was talking about how 2 Samuel and 1 Chronicles have 2 different accounts of the census that David took, And there was an atheist who was saying, hey, this is an example of a contradiction in the Bible, because in 2 Samuel it says that God incited David to take a census, but in First Chronicles it says that Satan incited David to take a census. And
I did. I think I did see that particular one. Either that or it was another person that said the same exact thing.
yeah,
That it came from the census came from Satan, or the census came from God.
right. And so which one was it, right? So they say, well, that's a contradiction. Well, in reality, it's not. What it is it's a literary device called metonym. So metonym is a literary device by which one thing which has come to be associated with something else takes on the actual representation of that thing. And in this particular scenario, this metonymic relationship is cause and effect. So it's a good example of what this would be like is cigarettes and cancer. So cigarettes have become so associated with cancer that you could say the cigarettes killed him or the cancer killed him. And both would be accurate, but they have a metonymic relationship in which each of them represent each other, at least within that relationship. And so this concept of this metonymic relationship, if you were to build a factory and your factory was going to produce a product, but it also produced pollution, would you be responsible, having built that factory, for the pollution that came inborn to your factory? And obviously the answer from a human perspective would be yes. But if you also added the element of, you knew from the very beginning, whenever you developed the blueprints, that it would create that pollution, and you created the factory anyway, you're even more so responsible for the pollution that it created. And so this was the Jewish mindset through this concept of metonym. This is why Samuel could say that God incited him to take the census, and not Samuel, Nathan, and why Ezra in First Chronicles could say that God incited him, or that Satan incited him to take the census. It seems completely contradictory, but the Hebrew mindset was that God was ultimately sovereign over all things, and because God was sovereign over all things, he got the credit and or the blame for everything that took place, because he knew the end from the beginning. He had a purpose that would stand regardless, and he was sovereign over all things. But this metonymic relationship works both ways. So you can disassociate it as well as you can associate it, right? And so whenever we see in the book of First John where he's saying, hey, this is of the world, right? There is that association that, hey, this is worldly. I think that's basically what John is saying is, hey, this is worldly. This concept of this temptation is of the world. But what is the world? It's our flesh. It's our immaturity. And so basically what John was saying is this is not wisdom. This is a lack of wisdom. This is a lack of maturity to take pleasure in these possessions over what is spiritual. And so this metonymic relationship can go both ways. It could be, you can have an author who uses metonym and who shows this complete sovereignty of God, where everything that takes place, God gets credit or blame for. And you can have authors who don't use metonym. And when they don't use metonym, they disassociate God from those actions. And both are correct, because both are true.
That mostly comes from an adversarial position, for the most part.
Yes. Yes.
I get totally what you're saying. I mean, it's
I think if we use specific language, like for example, we are in the world but not of the world.
Amen.
Right? So we're in the world but not of the world. The world is of God, but these things are not out of the Father.
right.
I think First John 2 basically confirms that. I think it's a second witness to that concept.
So basically, what we're saying, yes, God set up these parameters for the world, and we use them in an adversarial way to what God wants or His will.
Amen. Because, you think about it, that's You probably heard me say this a couple of times before. I mean, what are the only things without Yahweh? You know, what's the only thing we're good at doing? You know?
Your question
So
was, what does that verse relate? How does free will relate to that verse?
right, exactly, and that kind of plays into it because
It
our will is not
sounds,
always God's will.
yeah, it sounds to
So
me that there is a free will, and that the free will that is used toward those things, like the lust of the eyes and the pride of life, are not of God. But it also says that the world tends to lean toward those things. Like, so the majority of people tends to lead towards those things. So I think the verse just says that this is, this is free will, but most of the people, which we call the world, lean toward these things, and I'm letting you know that these are not of God.
yeah, I don't want to use free
Yeah,
will.
I would say,
more or
I
less
would say,
adversarial will,
yeah, I would
rather
say,
than
By
free.
nature, they are, I think.
yeah, yeah, I would say not free will, but that enslaved will has a propensity for these things.
Right. And
Now,
it's
obviously, God,
Enslaved to the flesh.
yeah, yeah. So
Right.
I mean,
Giving up
God
of
has
the will.
created all things, right? He's created the creation in futility, not willingly, right? So it's not that I willed these things. Like if God, like, no matter how much I try, I won't ever fly, right? Even though because God did make that an intrinsic quality for me to be able to express, but God has allowed me to lust, an intrinsic quality that I'm capable of. So all of these things are of God, but they're not out of God.
I think it.
Lust doesn't come out of God.
No, I think that. Yeah, I agree with you, Lewis. I think it boils down to I didn't will this, like me as a person, but God willed for the agency to tempt me into expressing what is not of Yahweh. And so I hope that makes sense. That's what I'm seeing from what you're saying, which, I mean, I would agree with, because I believe that God created, Hasatan, who is an agent to tempt, to accuse, and all the things.
Right. And
when
and,
when
and
you
my flesh has the capacity to lust, right? So
Right.
so so I was built that way, right? My flesh doesn't have the capacity to spontaneously combust. Therefore I don't spontaneously combust, but I do lust because my flesh was created with the capacity to lust. Now can God lust? No,
No.
because lust doesn't come out of God. But God has the capacity to create those things that are not out of him. They're not intrinsic to him, but he can
That's,
create those things. So
but
Interesting
it's always
enough,
plan
I
A to
would
begin
say,
with. Plan A, the world was set up this way on purpose. But again, our will is many times adversarial to God's will.
It is, but also think about it this way. Think about this whole thing as a process. Also, I think that's one thing that gets left out of this equation is the fact that this is all a process. When you taught your children to ride a bike, you probably took them out on the street, and there came a point at which you had to let go of the handlebars and let them kind of ride on their own. And you knew full well that there was a likelihood that they might fall and they might scrape a knee or twist a wrist or something like that. And you let it happen anyway. And did you let it happen because you wanted those things to happen to them? Or did you let it happen because that was part of the process of them actually learning to ride that bike? The scrapes and the cuts and the falls and the twisted wrists are all part of the process, just as the temptation and the falling short is part of the process.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't get to.
It's easy to wrap your head around when you have many people talking about it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's it was a hard one for me.
So
all because your free will is non-existent, more or less.
I see it all in God's
perhaps
will.
it's just the definition of free will that's lost on people. Maybe the definition of free will is more like how you guys said. It's a freedom of choice.
Right.
You can make choices. You're free to make those choices. But some people take it to an extreme and say, like, well, free will would be like, I would, I want to be able to just levitate. Well, I can't do it, so therefore, I don't have
Yeah,
it.
and we look at, for example, Paul, who says that the things I want to do, these things I don't do.
Yeah.
And so while he willed things, he would choose those things he was capable to, but he fails. And the things that he doesn't want to do, those things he does, and he has this internal conflict because there's that will that really is not ours. I mean, we this is all of God, not necessarily out of God, but of God. So temptation is of God, right? We didn't make it up. It didn't spontaneously appear. It's of God, but it's not out of God. God is not tempted.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Whenever you teach someone to do something, like if you teach someone anything or you're training someone on anything, you have to allow them to make the mistakes, because you don't get to the conditioning, or you don't get to a more perfected state of doing something without making the mistakes. The mistakes
Amen.
are part of it.
Right. I hear you.
It's about coming here to fall down on our face and get back up and learn from our mistakes and do better. It's not about who you are when you fall down. It's who you are when you get back up.
And God could give a damn about anybody's free will.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, God's not a respecter of persons. God doesn't care about our free will because ultimately his will gets done. I look at it as the analogy. I mean, I believe I was given this analogy, but God's will being the chessboard, and we are the pieces on the chessboard. We can move, diagonal back and forth. We can move around. We have our freedom of choice within that will to make choices, but God is the ultimate chess master. When we move, he says checkmate. He closes one door and opens another. We think we're winning, but it's just an illusion. God ultimately works all things out for his good.
At the end of the day, free will is when you get past the point of I have some control of my life, once you give that up, free will is basically I would say, for me anyway, the Achilles heel of hell doctrine. Easy to slice. Because I think that once you break free will down, everything falls into place. It's like this domino effect. Once I realize free will just truly isn't a thing, which some I know may disagree with me, but we as people, every single person has been controlled at one point in their life, or sometimes all their life. I would argue that I've been controlled all of my life. I have to answer to somebody all the time. So once I let go of free will, while maintaining a pattern of sound definition and consistency, the more I was like, I don't know. I feel like I can kind of let loose, because everything is a playbook. Everything that men are doing now, not men, just guys, but mankind are doing. Sorry, I don't hate men or anything.
No, I know you don't.
Okay, I didn't
No,
want
you couldn't, because you have the Jolly Green Giant over there.
Oh, I know. He's fine. Anyway, so so once I let go of free will, and even down to the trueness of definition and scriptures that support that we in fact don't have it, I don't know.
I just don't see divine intervention everywhere. Some pure determinists see it that way. I just don't.
I think it's divine intervention in that everything was planned out, right?
Yes.
Now, and here's the thing, divine intervention, maybe it is everywhere and we just can't see it yet. But let's say for the sake of argument, it wasn't everywhere. Let's say for the sake of argument, it wasn't everywhere. The definition of free will is not just the ability to make choices without divine intervention. It's also constraints. it's also external and internal factors
Knowledge, lack of duress. Yeah.
Right.
and
I can
things
I can
internally. But
understand
I
that.
would even argue that, divine intervention is everywhere, because who created all of these forms of influence?
I would disagree. Intervention presupposes a change of course.
That's true.
It's stopping something from going in a direction that it wasn't intended to.
Divine
So
presence.
maybe the better term would be divine influence,
Well,
right?
there's a specific verse in the Bible. Satan can't cast out Satan.
No.
I would say predestination.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, predestination. I'm sorry. I'm used to citing the definition of it. I just kind of stuck to the terms.
So right quick, working off of Tyler's analogy for the chessboard, I don't know how many of you guys are chess players, but if you play chess, right? So if you're playing a chess game with me, and I'm not the greatest chess player, but let's say you're playing a chess game with a chess master. Do you have the ability to make the choice to move your pieces? Do you get to choose where to move your pieces?
No, the framework
say
on how
yes.
I can move my pieces is already
Otherwise, it
set
wouldn't
in
be
the
a
rules.
chessboard.
So you do
Yep.
get to choose within the framework of the game. You get to choose where to put your pieces, right?
Yep.
But
Yep.
that doesn't mean that a chess master isn't directing you to make the moves that you're making.
It's
Yeah.
all psychology, dude. It's insane.
He
Yeah.
knows if you're a really good chess master. In fact, I'm not the greatest chess player, but
Me
with
neither.
most people that I play, I can make you make the moves that I want you to make, and I'm not even that great of a chess player.
Right.
A chess master can you are choosing where you're going to move, but they've directed your path.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
yeah.
how God is as the grand chess master.
Amen.
Like a lot like what's his name that got thrown off the Jonah. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, you
Yeah.
don't want to go. Well, we're gonna create the circumstances to lead you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Eh.
yeah.
Like Carlos's dog doesn't intend to fall asleep on the lounge, but Carlos makes sure that he has his dog close to the phone. So that
His imaginary dog.
it's a form of intervention.
I'm a
Does he even have a
respecter.
dog? Yeah, that's right.
I'm a
You're a
respecter
respecter.
of sleepy dogs. So once he sleep, don't expect to hear anything from me, 'cause I respect him.
He doesn't want to wake up the dog up, so he's quiet. Makes perfect sense.
Oh
He's
my
having
God,
he's having
Twan.
puppy dreams.
Twan.
All dogs go to hell.
No.
Twan.
What the heck?
Was it from Roy's live when he brought up,
I don't know what pap smear is.
I asked Carlos if he had bought
who
a
brought up
CPAP
pap
yet.
smear? I saw
No,
that.
no, I had asked Carlos if he had bought a CPAP yet, and Twan
Oh,
thinks
it was
it's
that
pap
one.
smear.
Twan throws a pap smear.
That's right. That's
How do
right.
you relate the two?
That
He's
was
like, "Did you
good,
get your
dude.
pap smear yet?" And we started laughing.
It was unexpected. No, that's what made it funnier.
The
Thought we
weird
all
thing
knew
is you
better.
never hear my
Okay.
dog unless he's sleeping.
I'm
He's a
telling you
very
what.
good dog. Very well
This
behaved.
chicken pot pie, boy. I'll tell you what.
Brian, thanks for adding to the analogy. I like that.
Well, you're welcome.
Hey, I just want to beat you to it, Ty, and say you're welcome as well.
Thanks, Carlos,
Nah,
Mate.
no problem, brother.
for your imaginary sleeping
I
dog.
didn't want you to have to use all your words. You know what I mean? I'll just save your breath. You're welcome.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a big conspiracy guy, but I've never seen Carlos and his dog at the same place at the same time.
Hey,
No, I haven't either.
that's like that guy that says, I'm not saying I'm Batman, but you've never seen me and Batman in the same room together.
Speaking of, have you seen the pug that says Batman?
No.
Go look it up on YouTube later. Batman pug. It's funny.
I'll have to check that out. So, have you guys? I'm not going to go there. Never mind. It's too far off topic.
So, does anyone have before? Because I'm probably going to end the live here in about 10 minutes. Does anyone in the comment section have a question that you'd like for us to address before I end the live? You can either come up on the panel and ask it, or you can ask it in the comment section.
I can drop.
About the concept of Jesus being the Savior of all creation and the reconciliation and restoration of all things.
Well, it's getting late for me. I'll take my leave now. It's a pleasure talking with you all.
You too, brother.
Always good talking with you.
I like the clever name. 13 with the black. But
Thank you.
have a good night, brother.
Good night. Thanks for joining us. Keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Thank you
he
for your,
was on Twan's live
insight.
with us last night for a little bit.
Yeah, he was.
Sure was. Oh, I miss everybody's lives. I don't know what it is. And then when I see them, unfortunately, my dog likes to fall asleep. Like that's the time when he falls asleep. So it's kind of that sucks.
Twan, hey, I got 2 dogs and I don't have that problem, Carlos.
Nah, what kind of dogs do you get?
What kind of dogs do I get?
Yeah, what kind of dogs do you get?
You get sleepy dogs whenever they come around?
Yeah,
You know what it is? What it is that Carlos falls asleep on his dog.
Yeah.
And so the dog can hardly breathe, so he's struggling to breathe, and
That's what it is.
gasping for air. Yeah.
Wait, come here, Snooze.
Come here, Snooze.
He's camera shy.
Mine's been whining at me for quite a while now.
It's a sin to lie, Los.
Let's not take it there. I got my legs crossed anyway. There you go, Ty.
That dog is not sleeping.
Look at them radar ears too, dude. They're like dishes on his head, satellite dishes. They collect all the signals.
You don't need Wi-Fi.
No, he's a Wi-Fi puppy.
Are they the type of dogs that run around the house real quick?
Yeah, right. He does. He's like
fast,
barely
right?
2. Yeah, this is
Is his
pity.
name
Purebred.
is his name Eves? Eavesdrop?
Yeah, eavesdropper. Yeah, my other one went in the living room to go take a nap, I guess. But this is my youngster.
You see,
wild.
Ty? I'm not the only one.
Yeah, except they ain't snoring.
My dog's a little overweight.
Maybe you need to go to the gym.
Dogs got sleep apnea.
Yeah.
Have you guys gotten a lot of
Maybe he needs a pap smear machine.
yeah.
According to Twan.
I'm gonna come back with a different name and profile picture. You guys won't even know it's me.
Not until you snore.
Right.
Wait. This sounds familiar.
I know who that is.
We'll figure it out.
It's a picture of a dog and he's snoring. Yeah, it's Carlos.
That'd be a good picture. Have you guys had any luck? Any ops here today?
The very first one, yeah. The very first one was an interesting one.
And how about Black Cat? He's a Universalist.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Can you tell me Universalist like through TikTok or?
You know, I don't know that. I don't know. I didn't really ask that question, but he's definitely not opposition.
Yeah, there's a lot of like silent listeners who just like, once they're comfortable enough, they just come out and convert.
Yeah, we've seen quite a bit of that. You know, it's amazing because we hear stories. We hear people all the time who will come out and say, "Hey, I started listening to such and such lives, or watching your videos, or watching Twan's videos, or whatever it may be." And And it's awesome that we're starting to see that fruit coming from it.
I don't think they're watching my videos enough because they got they all believe in, or my videos aren't good.
What?
Because they're all believing that everyone's still stuck on Satan.
You probably, it's crazy because I did this for probably 2 years
I was just kidding.
before anyone ever came out and said, "Hey, I'm a Universalist now because I watched your videos and I went and researched it." You know, it takes time for people to really kind of get embedded in that, but now we hear it, pretty commonly.
Yeah.
And it's the lives are the ones that really, for me anyway, are the ones that really get people to either fight me hard or look into it.
Yeah,
Not
but
so much my videos.
videos are hard because with videos you either have to do the kind of snapshot approach, which I tried the soundbite approach here recently, and though I was getting more viewers, I think it was not good because there's not enough information for people to glean from it for it to make a real effect. And then it just leaves people with more questions. Or you do the longer videos and you lose people's attention. So, the videos I think really help to get people at least asking the questions. And then they can ask those questions on these lives and we can give them a real firmly developed answer.
Yeah, I guess in the videos, maybe leave it open ended where you could be like, hey, if you any questions, right, just comment or send them a message, and that might make people feel a little more open to that.
Yeah.
But I guess really a lot of I mean, depends how you use the videos. But a lot of the videos, like I just started making videos because I was tired of answering the same question over and over again. And I was just like, you know what? Let me have that there so I could point someone to it if they ever wanna. You know what I mean? Like, okay, how about this? Okay, well, there's a video I have on that. But of course, that comes with prior engagement.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's why I number my videos, is so that I could create an archive, so that in my notes section on my iPhone, every time I make a video, I put that number with a short description of what that video, or a title for what that video is, so that if somebody is like, ask a question about the narrow gate, I can go into my notes section and I can search for narrow gate and I can pull up the videos that I talked about that, and I can just tag them in those videos, right? So that's a really helpful approach.
Yeah.
You know what I think would be really cool? If someone, not myself, of course, because I'm not well versed.
Well, then we'll pick Cole. Cole will do it.
But if you created a 2-person panel, say, and one person be a devil's advocate, even though they're not, just for the purpose of the audience,
Yeah.
to see where
Yeah, that is a really good.
how that would pan out.
That is a really good approach. The only thing about it is,
Because that'll keep people engaged.
it will keep people engaged. The only hard part about it is being the guy that gets chosen to be the opposition.
Right.
Well, I think you could.
I nominate
Nobody would want to,
Carlos to
or-
be the devil's advocate.
Well, I don't believe in the devil. I'll just be the advocate.
That's why it's safe.
There you go.
That's why it's safe. That's why I picked you.
Just the advocate, though. We got to take the devil part out.
Or Lucifer advocate, or
No, I'm just
Satan's
kidding.
advocate, whatever.
I'm just kidding. No, you know what? You could even do the video of yourself. You know how people do like videos where they pretend to be somebody else. They just like turn their head the other way.
Jacob Winderston does that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, you can go as far as like you could put on a dress and a wig and everything, and just
Well,
Stop,
well, I'm just
stop
saying, it's entertaining.
Carlos, I
No,
don't think
stop
you would look
telling
too
us
good in a
about your
dress.
weekend.
Carlos, I already have an alter ego. I just haven't brought him out in a while.
That's
That
right.
would be great if you did. What
That's
was,
true.
that would be awesome to see you and Billy at the same time.
Oh,
No one has seen you two guys together at the same time.
wait, what was
either.
that was the last name though? Billy something, right?
Yeah,
Billy Brimstone.
Pastor Billy Brimstone.
Yeah, Billy Brimstone.
That's where, Brian, you need to do one of those videos like they do where you have one angle, it's you, and then maybe you put like a hat on, and now you're Billy, and the other one, you just talk back and forth to each other.
Yeah, yeah, a hat and some messed up teeth.
Yeah.
I remember when I saw your first one done like that. That stuff was funny, bro.
Billy Brimstone. I'll be Hellfire Howard.
Hellfire
And,
Howard.
and you need a T-shirt that says Hellion on it.
Yeah, who was it? One of you guys had because we were playing around with it for a while there, and a couple other people did alter egos too. Who was it that did Reverend Red Hot? Somebody did Reverend Red Hot.
Oh, I don't remember that one, but that's funny.
I don't recall that one.
I can't remember who that was. Anyway, yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I may pick it back up again. It's just
Red Hot Randy.
What's that?
Red Hot
Just thinking
Randy.
names. Red Hot Randy. We just we got to come up with these alter egos.
The deep Southern accent would be a good one.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I did with Pastor Billy Brimstone. If you haven't seen any of those videos, Keith, you can just here on TikTok look up Pastor Billy Brimstone. There's only about 20 or 30 videos on there right now.
Only 20 or 30, though.
Yeah, Billy gets busy. Busy Billy.
Well, only 20 or 30 versus the almost 800 on my normal channel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that TikTok or YouTube?
TikTok.
Yeah,
TikTok? Okay.
it depends what you're comparing it to, Ty.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Well, and what I was trying to do, but for some reason, and maybe it's better now, but for a while there, I wasn't able to respond to comments through a video form on someone else's profile. Because what I was trying to do was I would post a video, and I did this for a few videos, and then for some reason TikTok removed the ability for me to do this. And I hadn't tried it lately, but I'll try it again soon. But I would post a video, and then I would post a comment I would have Billy stitch me actually commenting on what I said, or he would respond to a comment on my page, or vice versa. And so I kind of created for a little while a little back and forth to where we were actually arguing with each other back and
I like that. That's good. Yeah.
For some reason it stopped letting me do that. I'll have to try that again soon.
That's good.
I think it would be cool.
Yeah, that was a great idea, Keith.
Because then you could do it. You could do the split or whatever. Do a dual or
I'm
duo,
not that
whatever it
flexible,
is.
brother.
Yeah. Carlos.
I wonder if AI could do something like that really impressive.
I'm sure you could. It was real easy because I'm already I'm a natural born Southerner as it is. I just whenever I normally talk, it doesn't come out as much because I've traveled all over the place, lived in England, lived up north, and so it doesn't come out as strong. But I can bring it out pretty easy.
What Southern? Where are you from exactly, Billy?
Texas.
Let me hear your Southern accent. I want to hear it.
I already hear it, but go ahead.
You can hear it a little bit. You can hear it. You want to hear it? Watch one of the Pastor Billy Brimstone videos.
I will.
Because you'll hear it, especially the earlier ones on where I was like, they were like full 3 or 4 minute videos. Like they weren't sound bites. They were like 3 or 4 minute videos. But then some of the later ones were just kind of 30-second to 1 minute kind of sound bites.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like some of those Southern comedians, just the way they come up with the with their comedy.
Yeah, there's some funny ones. Speaking of comedians, any of you guys ever listen to Brian Regan? He's a nice clean comedian.
No.
Yeah, his stuff's good. I'll tell you another one. If you guys haven't ever listened to Tavin Dillard.
You gotta write. I gotta write those names.
So Tavin Dillard, actually, he's become like my favorite comedian. So Tavin Dillard, he has a TikTok
It's just under Tavin Dillard, Tavin, and then his last name is Dillard. He has a TikTok, and on his TikTok, they're short, like 30-second, 1 minute to 3 minute videos. But he also has a podcast, like on Apple iTunes, called the Tavin Dillard Podcast. And what he's done is, it's a guy. His real name is Joel Berry, is the guy's real name. But he created an alter ego, Tavin Dillard, who he created a whole town that Tavin lives in, and characters and businesses and all kinds of things that are going on in this town. And so you don't ever meet any of the, like, he never plays any of the other characters, but he tells stories about what's been going on in his town each week on his podcast. And he'll talk about all the people and what they're doing that week, but they all have a background, right? They're all made up, but everything in the podcast is made up. But every podcast is like an hour every week of him talking about what happened in his made up town that week. And it's hilarious. You'll have to check him out, and it's clean. He's a Christian brother. He no language or anything like that in his podcast or his TikToks. They're all clean. Yeah. It's good.
I can't stand a lot of cussing in comedians. It just doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, no. Then you would appreciate this. He even does every season. He's on like his 13th or 14th season of his podcast now. But every season he does like a Q&A, and he just lets people ask him whatever questions they want, and it's all made up. So they'll ask him questions like about something in his past or whatever, and he's got to come up with some quick answer of you know. But
so we watch him lie.
Yes, but it's good, clean lying.
Yeah, it's a white lie.
And he makes up a bunch of. He's got that southern. I think he's supposed to be in Arkansas, so he's got maybe Louisiana, one of those states, but he's got that southern draw, and he
Arkansas.
makes. What's that?
No, Arkansas is definitely southern.
Yeah, that's right. But he makes up words, like he can't get his words straight and stuff. It's all an act. Like he's a very intelligent guy, but he slips up on his words a lot when he's in character intentionally. So you guys will have to check him out.
I'll check him out.
Yeah.
And you said his name was William Gonzalez?
Oh man.
Tavin Dillard.
William Gonzalez.
Not that far down south, Carlos.
You said what?
Not that far down south. Not below the equator, bro.
Hey, once you hit South Florida, that's it.
Emily, it's Middle Earth.
Middle Americans is Nicaragua,
Right.
Panama. That's Middle Americans.
Yeah. Because there's North America and South America.
And then there's Central. Middle America. All this country, not Southern. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and end the live. Thanks for y'all joining me. This is
all right, brother. I'm gonna check out Tavin Dillard.
Yep.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, do that.
Enjoy,
All
bro.
right, take it easy.
All right.
Enjoy.
Love y'all. Check you later.
Later, bro.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.